Happy Wednesday night. Is this the first time that we've been able to hang out? Because if it is, I think you're in for a ginormous treat. Because we are going to not just laugh, we are going to learn and be in flow as we handle some pertinent dating topics in our time. Sugar daddy and reverse sugar daddy, which is a business model for us to pay attention because the model for how we spend resources to date massively in flux. With how we go about spending two types of resources in dating. One, how we allocate dollars to budget for entertainment. Two, how we allocate time. And three, how do we generate new dating deal flow? Meaning, where are we getting our potentials to date prior to allocating time and treasure to dating? Meaning, where are we discovering new talent? Where are we going to as far as meeting new people? Do you spend time on hanging out in the hopes that we might be meeting somebody new? Or are you fully vested in outsourcing your love life to your smartphone, where you end up progressing towards, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and just date a relative of mine, because I had no idea that that's how cultures did that. No incest jokes here, because that hits too close to home. How are we meeting new people? How are we meeting new people? Exactly. I had no idea that that Diddy model was de facto the Epstein protocol, which is some pretty messed up stuff, not to mention the Macron scandal of him marrying a man who's 14 years older than him, who got a sex change to be a woman, and then, plot spoiler, that person might also be his father, Macron, the president of France. In light of that embarrassing saga, what is your most embarrassing date story? How early in the relationship do you fart or go number two and poo in her bathroom? Or do you never do it? Farters? What I try to do, this is what I try to do. I don't fart a whole lot, so I wish I did, but this is what I do the first chance I get, is I want to drop a deuce in her bathroom. Why? Because it is so not what normal guys do, which is upper deck her toilet. When we do that, what we're signaling is that our digestive tract is healthy. When we don't do that, what happens? We become anally retentive, which is the opposite of flow. It's the opposite of natural nature calling. So the question for the group that for everybody has is, are you able to pee with the door open? Because what I've noticed is that par for the course, most girls pee with the door open, and I don't even understand what that is. Because closed door pooing, I think, is much more socially acceptable than it is to pee with the door open while continuing a conversation. The other one, toilet paper use. Why is it that at the beginning roll of a toilet paper roll, that it feels like women are just using an unlimited amount of toilet paper? Whereas my toilet paper utilization, it doesn't matter if I'm at the last 15 squares or a brand new fresh double roll. This also goes to how people, not just women, how people consume their favorite thing. Because if you've got a brand new fresh double roll of toilet paper, then you think that the toilet paper will never, ever, ever run out. And then you're skewed because you're using like 62 squares for just a number one. Whereas as a guy, as a Chinese guy actually, I think I can use one square or fewer than one square per food baby that I release. Think about how that math works. Because how cool is it that actually no female ever checks out how much toilet paper I'm using? Or the fact that, let's say she leaves on Monday at 7:15 a.m. and then she comes back on Wednesday at 11:15 p.m. Why doesn't she look at the roll of toilet paper and say, oh my gosh, this toilet paper hasn't changed? This is why I think about this. You know how when you stay in hotels, they fold the toilet paper into a triangle? And then when you fold it into a triangle, you're signaling that somebody touched your toilet paper, which to me never really screamed luxury that somebody folded my toilet paper for me. How's my sound? Is my sound okay? Somebody was commenting that their sound. Cool. Yeah, folded toilet paper is not like a napkin refolded in my restaurant that I'm hanging out. Yeah, folded seems fancy, but folded napkin in a restaurant, that's nice. That's saying, hey, we care about your handkerchief. Thank you for returning back from the bathroom, and here's your folded napkin. Folded toilet paper, by the transitive property of you touching the toilet paper and then the toilet paper touching my butthole, now it feels like you are touching my butthole. And that's why the first folded part I tend to discard, because it's the fingerprints on the toilet paper. And I'm thinking I want pristine wood that was just shaved off of a tree in the pulp and paper mill, turned into pristine pulp and paper that now touches my butt. Now, getting back to how do I get to 1 square per 9-pound food baby? How? This is the math of it. because digestive health is one of the best things that we can do. So, skid marks, not good, because that's your puppy dropping a messy poop. That's you as a puppy not being aware of dirty droppings. We discuss these things. Why? Because Chinese people, we really care about digestive health, where it's Bristol 4. They actually have ways to categorize doogie. Now, have you guys ever heard of a hot plate special or hot plates? Hot plates is the ultimate in an audit of a digestive tract, which is on a glass coffee table, it is a kink to drop poo on a glass coffee table. That's a thing that people have. Me, I don't have that. I don't want it on a glass table. I have it how? This is what it is. You know how like people, they say as a rule of thumb, oh, before I marry the girl, I want to meet her mom to see how she'll age, right? That's actually not a great rule of thumb because that has inconsistencies. Brady. Boy. That has inconsistencies. But what is completely accurate is skincare via your large intestine. You guys know those like acne drugs? They actually decimate your large intestine and your small intestine. The reason that the acne medication hurts your large intestine is that that's where your skincare is gamified in. So if your large intestine is really healthy, then your skin actually ends up glowing. We're talking about these things because if you have really perfect Bristol 4 food babies, now your immune system is powering. And is this going from stand-up comedy to a TED Talk? Yeah, accidentally, but it's beneficial for us. Why? Because Tom Brady the human loves avocados, almonds, and blueberries. And guess what all those three things do? Guess what all those three things do? Perfect food babies. Perfect. Like not having to spend 15 hours on the toilet. Problem. The bathroom is your only private time. Solution. Learn to get private time, right? Learn to get private time on your own, because sitting on the throne for 40 minutes, that's not good for your butthole, because that's how you get hemorrhoids when you're old. This is turning into a TED Talk. It's supposed to be funny. I mean, it is funny. I mean, preparation H, people use that for bags under their eyes. Oh my God, this is good. So, skincare and bags under your eyes, and then preparation H. So, when you start using beauty hacks, you end up getting less beautiful because your skincare really should go through your large intestine. Brittany, shout out, right? And so for us to slather on a foundation in order for us to get glowy isn't how you glow up. It's the opposite of that. The other thing, which is a ginormous, you're welcome. TY is almost my friend Ty Uber. Do you like how I'm hydrating? This is next. This is next. top 10 comedian business skills. That's next. Right now, we are talking about dating. So, have you ever tried to, with a person that you like, you know how like when you like somebody, you're on your best behavior? But what if with a person that you liked, you try to do everything opposite of what you would normally do? So I don't have a lot of gas because my digestion tract's pretty good. But what if I fake farted in front of a girl that I really liked? You would think that that would not be good, but in opposite day, it works. Do you know why? Because women are wired funny. This is what I mean. Being able to be yourself, being able to have normal bodily functions. What's backwards? Being able to do the opposite of what you think would work sometimes allows us to be creative in how we learn, how we go from failed relationship to failed relationship with great enthusiasm. Because once we get the experience of failed relationships, then the doing things that we normally don't do allows for a certain amount of creativity. You know how, like, right before you're gonna break up with somebody, sometimes the relationship gets 10 times better and then the relationship doesn't end. Because then you're not so stressed about where things are gonna go. You can just relax. And this, perhaps, I'm speaking to 32 to 35-year-old women, which is this: needing to have everything so perfect that the enemy of perfect is good. Like, why can't you just go out and have a good time? Whereas in the back of your mind, you're not only going to try to have a perfect time, which you're not even there because you're worried about what? You're worried about having perfect sex. This is why I know this problem. Because as a guy, sometimes I go through cold spells. And those cold spells mean that the time from erection to ejaculation sometimes is shorter. So then what happens when you start thinking about these things? You're not even in the present moment. But if this is going to be breakup sex or breakup week or a breakup trip where we agree to be breaking up, we're just going to do your friend's wedding and that's the last thing that we're going to do together as a couple. Guess what? Now the relationship is an extinction burst. When a relationship's an extinction burst, what happens to the passion level? Does it rise or fall? It rises by a ton, right? That's almost the whole self-sabotage of farting loudly and fakely on a date because you're trying to self-sabotage and then you're like fart and then you stare at the person and be like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna do? Because now you've violated so many social norms that now she thinks that you're a pirate. Now she thinks you're a punk rock anarchist, And then now there's an element of danger. And with women, when you incorporate an element of danger, guess what? What happens to attraction? What happens to chemistry? So these are things that I wish I didn't know. I wish I could date as if I didn't know anything about women. And I'm not saying that I'm uh, a person who understands female behavior. I'm saying that I'm the vagina whisperer, not in a way that you think is vagina whispering, but in a ovaries affect female brains in the same way that testes affect male brains. But it's just within the female community, it's not really talked about as much when it applies to how we manage our pineal gland. Oh my God, this is a TED Talk. So, men are coached from a super young age to manage your testosterone. So, you've got a lot of testosterone and you can't let it just, spike willy nilly. But with females, there's a there's an understanding, but there's a little bit of a disconnect with awareness for when chemicals cycle versus the luteal phase or the proliferative phase as it pertains to risk. Risk in meeting new people, risk in exploring a new social function, risk in general. That's something that I don't think I have read enough on. So it'd be cool in the comments if you guys chimed in on either a book to read or content for me to explore that is brain chemical changes in our bodies as chemical changes. So the multiple brains that I'm referring to are these brains. Your brain, your left and your right hemispheres for rational thinking and emotion. Second brain we alluded to when we were talking about large intestine, small intestine jokes, which is your stomach, because your gut is your second brain. What is your third brain? Your third brain is your chakra 7. What is your fourth brain? Your fourth brain is actually near your butt, where it's your wallet and your back pocket notebook. When you have multiple brains, you now are working things in orchestration towards goals that you have. And the interesting component to that is realizing that our stomach can cause brain fog because of the way that our spinal fluid circulates with our brain energy, our brain function, our brain wires. We should study, buddy, how to solve mental problems and exercise our brain. My gosh, yes. Let's disconnect temporarily as we get better together with brain function, with meeting new people and processing new creative things, because meeting people is super cool, right? And our connection here can be on Thursdays, where I drop new episodes on what they don't teach you in school. And I'm going to track the number of squares I use for toilet paper, and then we can we can share notes as to how we can share notes as to squares used and people met and other ideas that you have for me when it comes to getting better and what they don't teach you in school. See you. Fun spending time with you.